Hi everyone. Medial tibial stress syndrome. What is it? What is it characterized by? How can we treat it? Now, it's a condition that is prevalent in runners, in particular novice runners, and it clearly represents a mismatch between the amount of load that that tibia has been subjected to and its ability to repair. So you may want to look at the running mileage that they've been doing that has led to the onset of their symptoms. You may want to look at any speed work that they've been doing, because all of them contribute to increased amounts of load. The other thing to consider is if the runner in front of you is presenting with pain along the anterior border of the tibia, that could be more representative of a high-risk bone stress injury, which requires urgent orthopedic opinion. So do consider that. What we are talking about is pain along the posterior medial surface of the tibia, which is subject more to compressive forces, which means that it's less likely to propagate onto a full-on fracture. So this kind of bone stress injury, so the medial tibial stress syndrome, pain along the posterior medial surface, is something that can be managed conservatively. Now, the first phase of rehabilitation is what I would call restoring capacity within the bone. This is the phase where you would pull them away from running for a short period of time. That could be anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks. And then in that period of time, get them to do activities that involve short loading cycles. Now, this could be anything like a metronome march, as in marching to a metronome and increasing the speed that facilitates osteogenic activity within the bone. You would only get them to do these kind of activities for a minute or two at a time. So I gave you the example of a metronome march. You can also get them to do things like double leg squats. You can get them to do things like step ups. And then progressing on from that to more like low load plyometric exercises. So jumping on the spot, getting them to jog on the spot, getting them to do things like step ups. And you would essentially go from doing activities of low load to relatively higher levels of load, but still keep the loading cycles short. So you would get them to do the activities for a minute or two at a time. Now, the reason to restrict or limit the activities to 1 or 2 minutes is because the mechanoreceptors within the bone become desensitized to load after a short period of time. So within 100 loading cycles or whatever that activity is, it becomes deaf to load. So it will no longer set off an osteogenic response within the bone, and therefore getting somebody to do activities for long periods of time won't necessarily have any positive effect. And the other thing is this mechanoreceptor activity becomes sensitive again after 4 to 6 hours. So you can get them to do activities like what I mentioned previously for short periods of time, and then 6 to 8 hours later get them to do the same thing again. So this can be the initial restoring capacity phase. And of course you can move from low load activities to relatively high load activities all within that phase. And if they can complete a good walk at a good speed for around 30 minutes without any pain or provocation of their posterior medial surface of the tibia, then you can get them to progress on to running. And this is the phase that I would call a phasic return to running. Phasic because it's where you introduce them to running into a more of a walk-run kind of a plan. And you will see this on the right-hand side of your screen here on my slide. So you can essentially get them to do a run for 2 minutes and then walk for 2 minutes to start with, and then gradually increasing this. This is not necessarily time specific. This is more about provocation of symptoms. As long as their symptoms are less than 1 out of 10 on their numeric rating pain scale, then you can get them to maintain their activity or even progress the activity. So if you do find that the pain increases, then you may want to step back again. The other thing to consider here is you increase running volume first and not speed. And the reason for this again is when the running speed increases to more than, let's say, 10 kilometers per hour, the magnitude of stress on the bone increases. So there you go. So essentially going from a load restoring capacity to a more of a phasic return to running.